I've been thinking about the shame of simple pleasures. There's a quote from Vizek and Verasamy that says, "I have not yet grown wise enough to deeply enjoy simple things." We are all terrible accountants of our own joy. Most of us only accept deposits when the transaction is sufficiently large. The day that we get married, the night that we play the main stage at Glastonbury, the moment that the business sells for $100 million. Anything less, and the entry doesn't even make the ledger. We overlook the small moments. We treat small pleasures like counterfeit currency. You think, oh, that little thing made your day. That small moment made your week. How feeble, how desperate, how limited your life must be to be thrilled by something so unimpressive. We roll our eyes at tiny events that others celebrate, as though joy must be proportionate to scale. And yet, life is made up of little things, not once in a while, always. Your life is entirely constructed out of moments so small they wouldn't even register on someone else's calendar. So why can't something small be something great? Sometimes I feel emotions more deeply than I should, including the shame at feeling things too intensely. That includes the shame of being delighted by little things more than I think I should. I felt like taking pleasure in something tiny revealed the smallness of my life. But maybe that's backward. Maybe the true richness of a life is how much joy you can harvest from the smallest possible patch of soil, and maybe that's the real measure of emotional abundance. When you lower the threshold for joy, you don't just get more of it, you get it now. Who is more impressive? The person who requires a grand cathedral of fanfare and galactic accomplishment for the slightest flicker of pleasure, or the person who can feel it from a good coffee and a fresh breeze? The latter demonstrates emotional robustness. It's not the scale of the moment that defines joy, but your capacity to notice it. Being easy to delight is a skill worth cultivating. If the only experiences that bring you joy are big, impressive, and rare, then your happiness becomes brittle. You've made it dependent on external circumstances lining up perfectly. You've taken your joy hostage until life offers something sufficiently grand. We are already primed to be easily triggered, just not in the right direction. A slow barista, Wi-Fi buffering, or a traffic jam can ruin our mood. Our threshold for irritation is comically low, but our threshold for joy is absurdly high. We allow small annoyances to control us. A stranger's smile doesn't count. A great song on shuffle isn't enough. Throwing a towel into the laundry basket from across the room seems insignificant, yet we dismiss its joy. If a minor inconvenience can make us snap, why can't a good coffee make us glow? We are already easily tipped into frustration, so we must work equally hard to be easily tipped into delight. This is emotional training, and like all training, the rewards compound over time, filling the small spaces of everyday life with lightness and wonder. Joe Hudson says enjoyment is efficiency. The less grandiosity you need to feel good, the more happiness coins you pick up across your day. A good challenge is to ask yourself, how little the thing could make my day? How much delight could you squeeze from clean bed sheets, the smell of rain on hot pavement, or a cool breeze as you step outside? Small wins may seem feeble, but refusing joy from mundane victories because they aren't grand is like refusing a free ride to the airport just because the plane isn't a private jet. Most people already have a high threshold for joy. Don't make it worse by feeling shame when little things break through your defenses and make you smile. I adore this idea because it addresses the odd sense of embarrassment some of us have about taking pleasure in small things. Seeing a golden retriever on your morning walk or a flower in bloom is enough to lift your spirit. The notion that life must be monumental to be meaningful is a misunderstanding. Small pleasures are proof of life's richness. Even if you have a grand, extravagant life, you move from private jets to Michelin star restaurants to rock concerts and art exhibitions. Between those experiences, opportunities exist to have your day made by something small. Happiness doesn't only come in spectacle. It also lives in quiet moments, the ordinary gestures, the unnoticed textures of everyday life. If you hold your happiness hostage waiting for the extraordinary, you miss the beauty of the ordinary, and the ordinary is where life happens most of the time. Refusing joy from minor moments is self-imposed scarcity. You're cutting yourself off from sources of delight that are free, abundant, and always present. Each small pleasure is like a coin you can collect, And over time, these coins build a treasury of happiness. Life isn't designed to deliver monumental moments every day. Instead, it's stitched together with countless small threads, and recognizing them is the art of living well. Your emotional richness is measured by how much you notice, not by the scale of the event. A good coffee in the morning, a laugh with a friend, the warmth of sun on your skin. These are not trivial. They are reminders that life is continuously offering moments worth cherishing. Cultivating joy in the small things is a deliberate act, a rebellion against the belief that happiness is reserved for the extraordinary. It's a practice of noticing, of lowering thresholds, and of valuing yourself enough to allow the world's little gifts to touch you deeply. When we normalize delight in small pleasures, we build resilience. Life's larger challenges become more manageable because we have trained ourselves to extract happiness from the everyday. Emotional robustness comes not from seeking spectacle, but from recognizing subtleties, celebrating minor victories, and savoring the ordinary. Each small pleasure is an exercise in gratitude, an acknowledgement that the world is rich with moments waiting to be noticed and appreciated. This is not weakness. It is wisdom. Joy is cumulative, like drops filling a bucket. Each small pleasure adds weight to your emotional life. You don't need a grand event to feel fulfilled. Coffee, rain, music, kind gestures. These are the threads from which a meaningful existence is woven. To dismiss them is to undervalue the texture of your own experience. Learning to be easily delighted is a practice of self-kindness and mindfulness. It is a reminder that life is generous in ways both small and profound. Take, for example, a small, tangible thing like Element's new lemonade flavor. Something as simple as a cold, functional drink can transform your day. Replacing electrolytes like sodium, potassium, and magnesium improves brain function, energy, and appetite. It's a small pleasure, yet it matters. These small acts of care, whether nutrition, movement, or a brief pause, compound into larger well-being. The joy doesn't need to be dramatic to be impactful. It only needs to be noticed and appreciated. Refusing small pleasures limits your life unnecessarily. Happiness isn't a line item for extraordinary achievement. It is the sum of countless tiny moments that we allow ourselves to notice. Each moment you engage with consciously is an act of liberation. You reclaim joy from the trivial and ordinary, and in doing so, you expand your capacity to be fulfilled. This is a different kind of wealth, emotional wealth, and it is accessible to anyone willing to notice. So ask yourself, what if something small could be something great? What if the ordinary held a universe of delight waiting to be noticed? Your life is not measured by monumental achievements alone, but by how fully you allow yourself to experience the present. This is a radical invitation to reconsider what is sufficient for happiness, to lower thresholds, and to embrace the small joys as proof that life is already abundant. Every day, notice the little things. Let your delight be easy, generous, and constant. Let the smell of rain, the warmth of sun, the taste of coffee, and the sound of laughter remind you that joy is everywhere. The world is filled with small wonders that require no grand ceremony. In this way, your life can be full, rich, and meaningful, not in spite of its small pleasures, but because of them. The reward for cultivating this practice is immediate. The threshold for joy lowers, and the world becomes more vibrant. Emotional resilience increases, happiness compounds, and gratitude grows. By harvesting joy from small moments, you create a life where delight is abundant and accessible. You no longer wait for the extraordinary. You recognize that every day is already filled with opportunities to be moved, to smile, and to feel alive. So, celebrate the little things. Allow yourself to glow at the smallest of moments. Refuse shame. Practice noticing. Embrace the ordinary. Life is rich, not because of monumental feats alone, but because of the countless, everyday moments that shape your experience. Lower the threshold for joy. Harvest it wherever you find it, and your life will be immeasurably richer than if you waited for the grandiose to arrive.